Hello and welcome to another Excel demo with Rich Kerr. In this scenario, we're going to take a look at using the filter function to extract a subset of data from a larger set. And then we'll look at what the liabilities or let's say compromises you have with the filter function that can be alleviated by adding the search function. So first we'll start with a basic filter formula. I've got a list of staff names over on the left-hand side, and I want to retrieve data from matching names. So with a filter function, I can say equals filter, and I've actually made this list of data on the left into a table. So that first parameter or argument in the filter function labeled array, I can just reference it by the name of the table, which is staff info. So I want to bring back data from the entire table. In other words, the array component is the list of columns and rows that you want returned for your matches, comma. Where it says include, again, because it's a table, I can say staff info and then open bracket staff name. So I can reference a certain column in that table in this way. Makes it a lot easier than having to say A2 through A300 or whatever your row count is. And then I'll say equals, and I'm going to put my search term in cell K1, right? And then the filter function includes an option to indicate what text you want displayed if there's no match for your filter. So we'll say no match here. So right now I don't have any value entered, so it says no match. But now if I type in, say, Jesse Brown, then it matches that exactly and it brings back all the right data. But what if I don't know the person's full name? Like if I just type in Sydney, it doesn't bring back anything, even though there are staff members named Sydney. So that's the liability with the filter function. You have to do a match like that, right? You have to have that kind of exact match. So with the search function, we can alleviate that. I'm going to leave that search term there as, or my what I'm looking for as the name Sydney with no last name, so it's not exact. But I'm going to modify this formula, right? So I'm going to say equals, and I'm going to show you the search function first. I'm going to say equals search, and I want to find Sydney or the value from K1 within staff info, staff name. That's going to be the first step, right? So if I do that, what you get is an array of the cases where there was a match, you get a number. So because Sydney was found in the first position of whatever value this is, whatever row this is where it's found, you get the number 1. Like if Sydney was the person's last name and there were some other characters ahead of that, the number wouldn't be 1, but it would still be a number. So anywhere Sydney is found, you get a number. Anywhere you don't find Sydney, um, you get a pound value error. Now, it's not exactly lined up over here. You see the word Sydney or the name Sydney is in 278. It's off a bit because we're down one row from where the data is over here. So we're off by one row. Like Sydney, the number 1 is found here in row 32, even though the name is in row 31. But that's okay. It's looking across the whole data set, and that's why my array result ends one row below the source data because it starts one row below the source data. Okay, so everywhere there's a match, I'm getting a number 1. All right. So what can I do with that? What can I do with the fact that I'm getting a 1 where there's a match and a pound value where there is no match? I'm going to use this function called isNumber. What the isNumber function will do is generate the value true when it's numeric and false when it's not. So now instead of a bunch of pound value versus a number, I get false versus true. So basically, Excel is recognizing that at this position in the array, it is not a match. It's false. At this position in the array, which is row 31, back in the original array, it is a match. So where you have true, it's a match. Where you have false, it's not a match. This serves us well because now we can put this inside the filter function. We can say filter the entire staff info array, comma, and the include is just based off of the trues and falses. So if it says false, that means it's not included. If it's a true value, it is included. So the specific row from staff info will be included where it says true. So that really works very well. And now with our filter function, we go to the very end, type a comma so we can fill in the last option or parameter for the filter function. I'm going to put the words no match found. So now I don't have to know the exact full name, right? I put Sydney and it returns Sydney Thompson and Sydney Earl. So this is why you get a little bit more power if you use the search function in conjunction with filter. And it can be a partial name, right? So if I type in, say, DER, then it finds everybody who has DER somewhere in their name, whether that's Xander in the first name, or Henderson or Anderson in the last name, or DER in the first name for Derek. So it'll find that partial match. So that's it. That is the filter function enhanced with the use of the search function so that you can basically find partial names. I hope you find it useful. Please check in again soon for more Excel demos with Rich Kerr. Have a productive day. Peace.